The WCA home has private rooms for seniors who need assisted living. We are a nonprofit home founded 125 years ago for women, now seeking approval for men. Our mission has always been top-notch assisted living. Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Relax. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. The weather has been phenomenal, finally. This has been a perfect summer week as far as I'm concerned. The weather has been terrific, and gosh, this is like, when you think of a Norman Rockwell painting, summertime with music festivals and picnics and boating and just people getting together and having a great time, and the weather has been absolutely spectacular. Will and I played at the Westfield Arts and Crafts Festival yesterday, and a friend of mine down in North Carolina says, "Do you ever have the perfect gig?" And yesterday was just about as perfect as you can get. Hundreds of people around us, friends, relatives were stopping by while we were playing. There was a nice breeze. It was like 72 to 3-4 degrees. The smells of the vendors and all that stuff was just coming through, and the music was really good too. But it was just a great day to play music. And just as a plug for those folks, I think it just started again for today. All day today is the Arts and Crafts Festival in Westfield out on routes 20 and 394. And just as an aside, if anybody's interested, go to the Westfield Memorial Hospital Auxiliary tent and get a piece of pie or buy a pie. They're doing their big fundraiser with their pie booth, and I stopped and got grape pie. Now you might say, I'm not sure about that. I'll tell you what, you take a bite of grape pie and your mouth just explodes with flavors. It's just spectacular. And so I told Will, I'm going to go get some grape pie before I leave. I don't care what happens, I got to get grape pie. So I sat down, and the next thing I know, he's standing next to me and he's getting 2 pieces, one for him and Barb. And so it was a great time yesterday and lots of fun and lots of vendors. So, and of course, all the proceeds that go to support the WCA, did I say WCA? YWCA in Westfield for their programs there. Okay, so that's a good thing. Okay, let's get right off the bat. I want to say good morning to all our viewers and good afternoon to our listeners on WRFA that's going to be listening to us Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. Always glad you could join us, and hopefully what we have to talk about today is going to be really cool, really interesting, and maybe something you're going to look into down the road. So stay tuned. Always remember that you can call in if you have a question, 753-5225, just like it says. You can email us, Twitter us, you can walk up to the studio and hand us a question. The guys will excuse me, hand me a question. Now, if you do call in, don't be bashful, because they're going to put you on the air, and just turn off your TV or turn it down so we don't get any feedback over the phone. And they'll put you through. We'll talk to you live, and it's a lot of fun, and we look forward to talking with you. If not, you can just tell your question to whoever answers the phone, and they'll talk to me through my little earpiece here, and we'll answer your question. Okay, so don't be shy. I want to give a shout out to some folks that came up to me yesterday over at Meters while we were having dinner, Pat and Bill Locke. It was fun talking with you, and they evidently watch the show quite often, so good morning, Pat and Bill. All right, we got a few things to share with you from around the county, so let's get right to it, and then we're going to get to the main part of our show and our guest that's waiting patiently to get on. All right, we're going to start off in Jamestown and to the 15th annual local show, local music showcase. Come on, mouth, get working. Just a reminder, this is one of those mark your calendars, September 8th from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. So actually it goes from September 8th to September 9th. And they just came out with a poster. We're going to have to get a picture of that. It's a really cool poster. And musicians from all over the area give up some, I don't know, maybe about an hour of their musical lives. And they perform at one of 12 different venues, I think there is 12. And they play for nothing. People buy a wristband for $10, I believe it is, and then they go all over Jamestown, listen to all kinds of music throughout the evening. So mark your calendar, September 8th from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. All right, going right along, let's go to Westfield. The annual fundraiser for the Great Belt Open Golf Tournament. That's going to be held on August 11th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Pinehurst Golf Club right down the road over on Route 20 in Westfield. It says, join us for the second annual Great Belt Open to be held at the Pinehurst Golf Club. Four-person scramble includes refreshments, dinner, and awards. All proceeds benefit the Grape Discovery Center, allowing the center to continue to operate as a nonprofit, encourage tourism, and educate everybody about grape growing history in the Lake Erie region. Please note that we are seeking tea and corporate sponsors for this event. Tea sponsorship is only $50. Get your name or your business in the eyes of golfers, showing your support for the Discovery Center. $65 a person. If you're interested, give Christine a call at 326-2003 or email manager@grapediscoverycenter, all one word, .com. All right. We just played there the other night, had another great evening outside playing in the grapes. And got to see a lot of our friends out there that night. All right, this weekend, right today, starting today and tomorrow, a great family activity that you might want to check out. All right, I'm going to read the whole thing today. The Roger Tory Peterson's Wild America Nature Festival is coming today to Panama Rocks for its second year. So that'll be July 28 and 29. The last weekend of July. I'll just start reading these things. Headlining the event are Roger Tory Peterson's son, Lee Peterson, a nationally best-selling author, Jennifer Ackerman, and a famous animal expert, Jeff Musial, with his animals. Sounds like fun. Guests of the Wild America Nature Festival will also be able to explore the Panama Rocks scenic area and try their hand at one of Justin's favorite activities, axe throwing, at the brand new Excellent Adventures. We've been contemplating having a little axe throwing competition here at the studio, but I think we'll practice at home first a little bit. What do you think? Discounted weekend.
I live in the city.
You can't because you live in the city. I live in the country, and we can do a lot of those crazy things. Discounted weekend passes are available for the price of a one-day pass to the Wild America Nature Festival online. Let's see. But if you go to I guess it's a little late for the early bird. So right now, it's $10 for general admission, ages 13 and up, $5 for youth ages 6 to 12, and children age 5 are free. The festival is currently accepting, let's skip that part. It's hosted by Panama Rocks, our good buddy Jonathan Weston, and the Roger Torrey Peterson Institute of Natural History, and it is sponsored by Edible Western New York, Edwards Insurance, Erie Times News, and so on, Jamestown Mattress, Media One Group, and have a wild summer, it says. And if you haven't been to Panama Rocks in a while, it's just great out there. On a nice warm day, you get out between those rocks. It's really cool. Temperature, that is, and it's also cool to be walking around, but with all this good stuff, and I know they're going to have food, and they're going to have classes and workshops, and there's going to be a farmer's market and all kinds of cool things there today, and I heard it was a great success last year, so check it out, the Roger Torrey Peterson's Wild American Nature Festival at Panama Rocks. Okay, another one of those mark your calendars. They're sweeping the streets, they're decorating, I know they're getting ready for the Sherman Day 2018. It's going to be held August 3rd and 4th. That's next weekend. There's going to be a bonfire, a 5K run walk, a parade, chicken barbecue, and a whole lot more. There's the flyer. It's just jam-packed full of activities. I can't go into all. I see a bouncy house. I see vendors, a farmer's market, a Dunkin' booth. The famous lawn mower poker run, Jeff just tells me. Oh, there it is. I see it. So lots of fun things going on in Sherman. So check it out. Also, after you go to Sherman, you might want to check out the Silver Creek yard sales on August 4th. The Hanover Chamber of Commerce will host the Silver Creek's yard sale on August 4th. All residents of Silver Creek community can sign up to participate in this important event, which helps to support year-round programming by the Hanover Community Chamber, including a band for the July 3rd fireworks at Borrello Park, the window decorating contest for the Silver Creek Festival of Grapes, and scholarships for local graduating high school seniors. Residents who want to participate by holding a sale can sign up at the Silver Creek Optical. The cost is $10, and it covers participation in the blanket sales permit from the village, as well as listing all the yard sales throughout the area on one map. Registration is due this Wednesday, August 1. And my good friend Dave Kleperic is the coordinator there at the Hanover Community Chamber of Commerce. Give him a call, 366-6200, if you're interested in participating. Okay, slide 18. I've been practicing this. I don't know if I'll get it right or not. They give me so many tongue twisters, but here we go. The 11th annual Oktoberfest. It's the last time I'm going to say it. Is sponsored by the Southern Tier Brewing Company over there on Stoneman Circle in Lakewood. It's going to be held Tuesday, August 14th from 5 to 9 p.m. All proceeds from this event will benefit the St. Susan Center. Our good friend Jeff Smith, the executive director over here, says the following. This is a date that many in our community have had circled on their calendars since last year when we announced it. This event keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as many people attend. Thanks to social media, we have expanded our reach to more than just Chautauqua County. Last year, we again had folks from Ohio, Pittsburgh, Toronto, and even Florida who attended. Well, they watch my show. Of course they would. Yeah. Let's see. Last year, despite the inclement weather, over 300 people came to attend the event and help raise funds for St. Susan Center. Okay. They said, he thinks besides the fact that even though it was bad weather, it was the great Southern Tier beer that made the day. Okay. So they're going to have shish kebab, corn on the cob, pulled pork sandwiches, of course, lots of beer, and they'll have non-alcoholic beverages as well. And Happy Days will be providing the music of one of our local bands in the area. For more information, give them a call at 664-2253. And we'll be talking about this again next week. All right, our good friend Ken Harley, he's got this thing going on called Rolling Hills Radio, as many of you know, and it's usually held at Shawbucks, but they take a break for the summer, but they have one special show at Chautauqua Institution, and it's going to be held this next Sunday, August 5, and he's going to be presenting Joe Crookston and Todd Burge. Now, I don't know if that's Burge or Burgey, but it's Todd Burge, at the amphitheater stage at the Chautauqua Institution at 2 p.m. on Sunday, August 5. Now, what does that mean? August 5, Sunday, that means it's open and free to get in. keep that in mind. All right. Joe Cookson is a songwriter, guitarist, painter, fiddler, slide player, Echo Village member, and believer in all things possible. But he is, above all else, a storyteller. His songs are rich retellings of people's lives, whether of his own father building airstrips in the South Pacific in World War II, or the imagined life of a man who one day found in action no longer be possible. He's a storyteller, I guess. And then Todd Burge has emerged as one of the West Virginia's most prolific singer-songwriters. He employs wry humor, dexterous guitar work, and an assortment of odd characters, from humans to bugs to animals, to sing his stories. So as I mentioned, it's going to be free to get in that day at Chautauqua Institution. The show will be episode 77 on Rolling Hills Radio, and it can be heard on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people, in Jamestown. Nationally through Global Community Radio. You have to check listings for that. And seen also on Spectrum Channel 1331 and Access Chautauqua right here in Mayville. They broadcast the show as well. And for tickets and so forth, you can give them a call at 294-0416 or go to rollinghillsradio.ticketleap.com. Okay, and so that's all going. Oh, that's for the seasons tickets. I'm sorry. So season tickets, you can go to get your tickets at 294-0416 or go to that website. Okay? Whew. Senior citizens, it's coming. The Chautauqua County Office for the Aging will be holding a senior picnic at Midway State Park in Maple Springs again this year. It will be held on Friday, August 10 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the large pavilion right down by beautiful Lake Chautauqua. Tickets are only $8, but they're non-refundable. It's considered a non-refundable contribution. It will only be available until July 31. Takeout dinners on the day of the picnic are not offered because of food safety reasons. There will be bingo at 10:30 and 50-50 tickets. Lunch will be served at 11:45, along with music from 12:30 to 1:30, from 1:30 to 2. Many wonderful door prizes will be given away, with 6 cash prizes and 50-50 prizes. No, let me read that again. Given away along with 6 cash 50-50 prizes. You got to read that differently. This menu for the day is a chicken barbecue. All-American Barbecue and Catering of Jamestown will provide it with baked beans, potato salad, roll, watermelon, and dessert. You'll be waddling out of there. A snack will also be provided during bingo, and there's full access to lemonade, water, and coffee for the day. Send your dad down there. Good feed. The picnic has become a favorite summer event for many seniors throughout the county, and this year is extra special as they'll be celebrating the Office for the Aging's 45th birthday. According to Becky Blum, RN from the Office for the Aging Senior Nutrition Program. Tickets for this event, you can call at 753-4471. In Mayville and Dunkirk, it's 363-3865, or in Jamestown, 661-8940. And also, they'll be bringing tickets to many of the clubs throughout the area. Office for the Aging will be accepting non-perishable donations again this year at the picnic for our shut-in baskets sent out in December. Anyone bringing something to donate will get in on a free prize drawing. They always got some cool things going on there. Okay, and finally, mark your calendar again. The annual Chautauqua Chamber of Commerce Golf Tournament is going to be held August 16th. Lots of golf tournaments. You can play where the pros play on the spectacular upper course at Peak and Peak. For more information, give them a call at 366-6200 or 484-1101. And again, that's going to be held on August 16th. And coming to Jamestown, all kinds of crazy things are going on throughout the county, especially with the National Comedy Center. But this is going to be the 26th annual Cruise-In. The Jamestown Chamber of Commerce proudly presents the Jamestown Cruise-In for the 26th year. Friday, August 17th, this popular event will be held from 5 to 10 p.m. along 3rd Street in downtown Jamestown between Spring and Washington Streets. That's kind of cool when they close off the streets and just make it a big neighborhood party. Cruise-In combines a classic car show with live music, vendors, and fun games and events for the whole family. Music, again, will be provided by the in-crowd. A variety of vendors will be on hand with food and beverages, and there will be a hula hoop contest, bubblegum contest, and more. I don't do that. When you have a beard, you just don't do bubblegum contest. Okay. For more information, give them a call at 720-1834 or Rebecca Voti at the Chamber, 484-1101. That's all I got for today, so don't be a stranger. If you've got your event or something going on, give us a call or send it in. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back and talk to you about solar energy.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Okay, good morning and welcome back, and good afternoon and welcome back. Some time ago, my brother said to me, "You need to get solar power," and as good brothers will always do, we argue. And I said, "Well, I'm not ready to do that. I'm still weighing different other green power sources like wind and whatever." And he was moving fast, and he was moving way too fast for me. Well, long story short, he put in solar energy at his house and been very, very happy with it. Well, over the course of time, I thought, well, I should probably look into it. So I asked him what company he worked with and blah, 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 blah. Well, he said Solar Liberty. Well, I contacted Solar Liberty, and that's where I met my buddy here, Ryan Calalesina, and welcome back. It's been about 3 years that you're on the show.
Yeah, thanks.
And we tried to get me solar energy through all the programs that are available, and it just didn't quite work. And we'll get to that here in a minute. But we finally did get to it, and we're going to talk about my experience, my story with solar energy, Ryan's part in all that, and how solar energy works. But before we do that, congratulations on your latest addition to your family.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Nice, yeah.
Little girl, her name is?
A little daughter, Sullivan Rose Calalesina. Yeah.
And you have other children?
And I have a 3-year-old daughter named Emmy.
Emmy and Sullivan.
Yep.
How nice.
Yeah.
And your wife's doing well?
She's doing great.
Great,
Yep.
great. So thanks for joining me today.
Yeah.
I don't know if I asked you, Ryan, last time. How does one person get involved with solar energy? I mean, how long have you been in the field?
So I've been with Solar Liberty for about 8 years now.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Because they've been around, what, about 13 years? Something?
Almost 16.
Well, 16.
Yeah.
So how did Ryan from Lakewood, I guess you're from, right?
Yeah. So the company, the two owners of the company are two brothers, Adam and Nathan Rizzo from Jamestown.
Okay.
So one's a year younger than me, one's 2 years older than me. So I knew them growing up.
Oh, all right. So you had a personal relationship. Okay.
Right. So honestly, kind of dumb luck. It was something that I wanted to get into, and I basically forced their hand at giving me a shot, and here we are all these years later.
And I told you when you got here, you look great. I mean, you said you lost a bunch of weight after the baby was born, and you look terrific. So,
Thanks.
You have to go back and look at your other video and compare. I mean,
I actually watched it the other day to see what not to do.
But you were fine.
No, so yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, the reason why I asked you back is because Solar Chautauqua has been a program that's been going on throughout the county, and I know you guys have been involved with that the county picked your company to be involved. So pretty much that's why you're here, is because the county said, we like working with you guys and so forth. So can you tell us a little about what the Solar Chautauqua project was about, and is it still running, and what's going on?
Yeah, it's actually ended, although we'll
Probably up again?
we'll hope so. We hope so. So it's something, the Solarized program needs to be run by somebody nonprofit that is probably wants to see more solar in the area. So they vet different solar companies, and they've chosen us. So we've actually done 2 rounds of it.
Okay.
I think the last round was in 2016, and then this one actually just ended a couple of months ago. We're still obviously still happy to, and everybody, half of our company is from Chautauqua County, so we take a lot of pride in installing solar in this area.
Okay, so did you get many takers over those 2 years?
Yeah, I think that we more than doubled the total solar installations that we had in Chautauqua County.
Wow. Okay. So people are getting interested more and more in solar, like myself.
Absolutely.
So why are people like me more interested in solar lately? Because, 10 years ago, if you said solar energy in Chautauqua County, people just laughed at you. Said, "You're on the Great Lakes. It's always cloudy. It's always lousy weather, and blah 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 blah." So what's turned around in the industry? Because we're gonna talk about things generically as much as we can today.
Sure. Well, cost of solar and the installation itself has come down quite a bit in the past 5-6 years. So it's become more viable for people to be able to do. The incentives are really strong in New York State. We have some of the best incentives in the country. That makes up for the fact that we don't get the sunlight that they do in California and Arizona and New Mexico, stuff like that. But the incentives is what really keeps this running for now. Okay. But the reduction in cost is allowing people to move forward. And, it's typically one of two reasons that people do it. One is environmental, is why we're in the business. We want to make it a cleaner, greener Earth for the next generations. But if it didn't make financial sense, then we'd have a lot less takers. So it does save money. There is a payback to it. It's a long-term investment that saves you tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay, and with the incentives, how does we hear this quite often? There was a time where you could buy energy efficient refrigerators and there would be a tax incentive or cars that did certain things that with emissions and things over the years. So how does the incentives work? It's for all people, right? All companies. It's just not for your company.
Yeah. So they're state and nationwide incentives, really. So nationally, everybody gets a 30% federal tax credit, which is kind of the big one.
If they buy the system.
If they purchase the system, right. So that's kind of where we had
right, we'll get to that.
Okay. And then through New York State, so each state has their own state incentives. We get an upfront incentive from NYSERDA, which is the New York State Energy and Research Development Authority. And then you get a 25% state tax credit, which is capped at $5,000. So all in all, those incentives typically cover, for a purchase system, 60 to 70% of the cost of the system.
Now, you and I both kind of looked at each other and smiled because not everybody can get the incentives because of their individual retirements or whatever. And I'll explain. In my particular case, I could get the federal incentive, which was nice. But then we couldn't claim the state incentive because you have to pay into state income tax to get the money back. And when you're on a state pension, like myself and my wife and many of us out here in viewing land and listening, if you don't put in, you can't get it back.
Exactly.
So so companies have a new option, and your option was a lease. So how does the lease work for folks that are listening?
So we do a lease program through a company called SunPower. They make the most efficient solar equipment in the world. It's basically an agreement between the customer and SunPower. We become just the installer at that point. But it's really simple the way that works, and it's really easy to explain to customers that SunPower will maintain, monitor, and insure a solar array for you for 20 years, and it's a monthly payment that hopefully we can start out that's less than what your current payment is. That payment won't move over the course of 20 years, so as electric prices continue to rise, you continue to save more money.
Kind of lock in your cost.
So, and if you do still have state tax liability and you want to lease, you still can take the state tax credit. You just don't. SunPower takes the federal tax credit.
So I get my $9 back that that's what I usually get from this thing. Is like $9.
Yeah.
Now, if I owe money, I don't have to.
That's right.
I don't have to give it back. Okay, so wind power, something turns, and it moves magnets around, and that creates electrical current, and then that goes down through wires and into the electric company. So I know you said that you had a slide today that was going to talk a little bit about how solar energy works and so forth. So before we bring the slide up, what's the simple elevator speech? How does solar energy work?
Basically, it produces power, it pumps it into your house. Anything extra goes to the utility company, and they give you a credit for it so you can use it later.
Okay, so let's pop up that slide, and we'll speak to that. Jeff, who got that? There we go. Okay, so
this is our diagram here. You can see, I don't know if you can see all the numbers and stuff on there, but you see a sunshine. The sun basically hits the solar panels, it creates a current. The solar panels produce DC power, which we don't use in our home. So the first thing we need to do is pass it through an inverter. There's different types of inverters, there's different ways that this can happen, but they all basically do the same thing, is convert DC power to AC power. From there, we've made it usable for your home. So we will connect right into your main breaker panel, so that whatever the solar panels are producing goes right into the house for immediate use. The utility company will come and swap out your electric meter. They're not going to move it or anything like that, but they're just going to take the face off of it and put a new dial on. It's considered a net meter or a bidirectional meter, and that spins forwards and backwards. So anytime your solar panels are producing more power than what your house needs at any given time, we take that extra electricity and we give it back to the utility company. It essentially spins the meter backwards. What it's really doing is counting credits that are owed back to you in the future. So the idea of an ideal solar array is that we're overproducing power all summer long. We're building up credits with the utility company so that when we get into the winter months, things are covered in snow, the days are a lot shorter. We have those credits to work off of. So on an annual basis, you should just be left with your basic service charge. You believe your National Grid customer is $17 a month. So that's basically as far as we can reduce your electric bill. But
because you have to pay the carrying charges.
You're
right?
paying that just basically for having their meter on your house.
Okay, so when people are looking, for those who are listening right now, we're looking at a diagram of a house, and there's some solar panels up on the roof. And so, if I heard you right, when the sun hits those panels, something happens in the panels, some type of I don't know, a reaction, I guess you call it?
Yeah. I mean, I typically leave science out of all of this, but a solar panel is made up of cells that are made up of silicon, which is a semiconductor by nature. They're able to dope the different layers of the cells negatively and positively throughout the cell. The negative and positive, when the sun hits it, creates an excited state, creates a current. There's
no
basic wiring.
There's no chemicals. There's no water, no fluids or anything. It's just.
No, I mean, there's chemical to make up the panel, but yeah, there's nothing. There's
no moving parts.
No, there's no moving parts. It's really just sits there in the sun, does its job, produces power for you, and pumps it into your house.
And that's the part I kind of like. You know, it's very quiet, doesn't go anywhere, just sits there. And I brought some pictures of my own here in a minute. But let's talk a little bit about when the sun is shining and it's producing this reaction and making electricity. So when the electricity is being produced right then and there, is that powering the house?
Yeah, so whatever it's producing is going immediately into the house.
Okay, so I had that wrong. I don't know why I had it that way. All right, so like right now the sun is shining at my house, and so if the lights are on, it's being produced by my solar system.
Right.
And at night, obviously, it's not, and that's coming off the grid, National Grid.
Correct.
Now, what about that extra chunk of electricity that I produce some days? So where does that go?
So again, that just goes back to the utility company.
So that's when the meter runs backwards?
Right. Their meter is keeping track of that. You'll see a line item on your electric bill that'll show you what your credits are. So in the summertime, spring, summer, when you're producing more than what you need, you'll see the line item of credits kind of build up through the summer. And then we'll watch it start to deplete during the wintertime when we're not producing as much as you're actually using.
Okay. Interesting concept. Okay, so for a solar company, and I'm assuming it's other companies are the same way, you could buy the system or you can lease the system. And to get your tax credits, that you have to work with your tax preparer to get that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, as a big flashing disclaimer, we'll always recommend that you talk to your tax professional before making a decision on this. It's a big investment, and it's not something that should necessarily be rushed into. Make sure it's going to work properly for you so that we can get the right solution.
Okay, so before you came on the air, I said, let's tell the story from day one. All right, so we'll use me for an example because I took some pictures, and my story has been a long story because, like you said, you don't rush into these things. I don't even know how long. It's probably been about 5 years ago or more that you and I first met. Yeah. I mean, it's been a while, and I don't want to say I was a tough customer. I had to process this thing and make it work for me.
So, right, and some people make a decision that day. Yeah. Some people, typically takes about 2 weeks or so for them, not necessarily 2 or 3 years.
My wife says, let's move things along here. I go, I got to think about this a little bit. Once I make my decision, I'm all in, right?
It's not too out of the ordinary. I get calls from people from a few years ago that say, we're ready to go.
We're ready to go now. But everything's got to fit. Okay, so this summer, one of the things that I had to do before I even got you guys involved was I had to put a metal roof on my house. We have really sunny, and we have lots of open sky, but it also has a lot of wind. So I had to put a metal roof on the house to secure the roof. So that's not a problem, right? Metal roofs are okay.
Yeah, any type of roof, and we try to stay away from stone roofs, slate roofs, stuff like that.
And again, we're trying to be generic. So they contact the solar company, in your case, Solar Liberty. And what do you do first? So I know what you do first, but let's just talk about it generically.
So we would request a copy of an electric bill.
Okay.
Because we want to see how much power you're using, because this isn't a cookie cutter type of thing. We design each system for each individual home. So we want to see how much power you use and how much you need. We then take a look at your roof lines, figure out what's usable space, and we can put them on the ground if you've got enough space there as well. But we design a system, hopefully, that's going to cover 100% of somebody's electric usage. If not, we'll use as much space of the roof as we can to try to offset as much power as possible. So our engineers put together a site plan. We'll put together a proposal, and we'll come out and sit down with you and kind of go through all of the information. Make whatever revisions need to be made, and we can. There's a million different options as far as equipment.
So people might be listening right now or watching. They're saying, "Well, my house is sort of shaded by trees. I got a small roof." So is there answers for some of those things?
Yeah, so when we come out to do a site analysis, we bring a shading tool with us. So
a shading tool?
Yeah, so it's in my bag, which doesn't do us any good here. But it basically takes a picture of the sky, tracks where the sun's going to be throughout the year and throughout the day, and points out anything that's going to cause us shade. So that tells us how much sunlight a roof actually gets. New York State requires that you have at least 80% of sunlight. Okay.
Thanks, Justin. All right, so a shading tool.
So.
Okay.
Real neat piece of equipment.
All right, this looks like something out of Star Trek.
Yeah, kind of. But it's a sophisticated piece of equipment that again it knows where we are.
So like a GPS type thing.
Yeah, and it tracks in that location where the sun's going to be throughout the year, how it moves across the sky. It's lower in the sky in the wintertime. It's higher in the sky in the summertime. It basically just tracks the sun's path, and it will point out trees that are going to cause us any type of shade. So again, it also calculates into its numbers pitch and orientation of roofs. So obviously we want a roof that's directly south at a perfect pitch, but that's not always the case.
And what's a perfect pitch?
It's about 30 degrees or a 7/12 pitch.
Okay.
You're not going to change your roof lines to put solar on you. So east and west will work. We just never want the panels facing north because the sun's always to our south. Okay. So this calculates how much sunlight you're going to actually get. Again, New York State requires that you have at least 80% in order to get their incentives, or full incentives. If we fall below that, you can still get some, but it's a percentage.
What if people want to go out and buy their own solar cells and hook it up somehow? Some do-it-yourself project. Can they also get these incentives?
You're still able to get the tax credits through the state and the federal government by doing it yourself. You don't get that upfront incentive from New York State because you need to be a NYSERDA certified contractor in order to apply for that.
Okay.
So. I don't know how many people actually go out and do it themselves. Every now and then we run into somebody that says they're going to, and then they typically call us back a couple years later and say, I'm ready for you to come do it. It's a little bit more work than.
Okay, so I was going to get to this question. A question came up in my earpiece.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, does it make electricity on cloudy days?
It does. It does. As long as there's light, it'll produce something. If it's completely covered with snow, that's a different story, but we calculate those, snowy days and snow coverage into our power production estimates for people. So we're very realistic about where we live. But we actually use a software program that gives us 30 years of average sunlight data specific to your zip code, which allows us to kind of estimate what a solar array will do. And we've actually changed things up here recently, and we now give you a range. So in a good year it'll do this, in a bad year it'll do this. It's probably going to fall somewhere in between, just because our weather's never the same year in and year out.
I've noticed that, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So let's go back to my story. So after I finally, no, it was still in the early days before I even made a commitment. You did your gizmo there, and you said you can make so much energy, and I had a good roof line. It was facing the correct way. Lucky me.
Yeah.
In fact, my entire back roof faces south. I think it was almost exactly south. So it was a good prospect there, but then I had to drag my feet. So then finally, I contacted you again. I don't even know why, and I said, okay, let's do this. So I went with the lease program, put down some money as a down. I lease it, so I pay money for the lease, but over the course of the 20 years. I think it was projected I would save something crazy like $8,000. I think it was. Okay, so it seemed like a good prospect for me. So as I recall, we did a bunch of paperwork, and they sent me things by email, and I was doing electronic signing. So it was really pretty effortless, right?
Yeah.
And you were always available to answer questions. And then we finally got this final paper signed. The roof was done, and then I think it was in April. Maybe April. It must have been May. I'm thinking they started coming out and starting. Oh, I know what it was. Your buddy, is it Tony or Vince? Tony, the engineer.
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah. Okay. He came out and did an inspection of the roof, and he was crawling all up under the rafters and doing all these calculations, and decided he needed to shore up part of the roof line. That's not my garage, but just a porch. And so he came back about a month later, and he brought wood, and he redid the whole thing, and he engineered the thing for me. So that was like really customized. I thought that was pretty cool. And then your electrician came out, Chris, maybe?
Yep.
And we looked over the site, and we talked about how we were going to run the conduit, blah, 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 blah. Actually, we ended up changing the idea later on after we came up with a better option. But she told me how all was going to progress, and the next thing I know, they contacted me and said they're going to come in and install. So Jeff, I've got a couple of some pictures here just to kind of walk through the installation, which I thought was pretty neat. I get excited about this. So could we have that first picture of the house? Okay, so you can probably tell as much as I can, but that's the back side of my house. So we're looking at the garage to the left and then the porch to the right. So it's sort of an L configuration, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
And so what are they doing there?
Well, it looks like the installers are on the roof and they're putting rail down. So the solar panels get attached to a rail system so that they're not sitting directly on top of the roof. They're about 2 or 3 inches off of it. Allows for airflow, precipitation to run off, things like that. and for the panels to just stay a little bit cooler and be more efficient. So yeah, it looks like there's a few guys up there hard at work.
Yeah. Okay. Next picture. Oh, what was that? They weren't doing anything there at all.
Looks very similar to the last picture.
Right. I guess they were just starting to get prepped up there. I'm looking at the monitor. All right, there we go. So this is almost done, I think. Maybe it is done. I had to count the cells, but I think there's like 23 cells, solar cells up there. And so you had the configuration of majority of them were on the garage, and then 9 of them on the porch. And originally we had talked everything was going to be on the garage, but evidently after they engineered it some more and decided that the best angle for the sun and all that was doing this other configuration. When it was all done, I asked my wife, "Well, what do you think? Do you like the way it looks?" And she goes, "Looks fine." So it passed the smell test there.
Yeah. And aesthetics are something I don't try to talk people in or out of. It's once you start seeing your electric bill, it becomes prettier and prettier. I love the way they look, but I'm also very
well. It looks very streamlined. It looks very modern looking, and it doesn't move. Doesn't make any noise. It just sits there quietly.
And you also have the absolute most efficient, best solar panel in the world on your roof, and that's what you get through that lease program, and it's not an extra cost versus
Where do those come from?
Panel. So it's a SunPower product. SunPower is a California-based company. Again, they make they've got 5-6 different panels that are all the best panels in the world. Their worst panel is better than everybody else's best panel.
Okay.
As far as efficiency goes. But they're a California-based company, been in business 32 years making solar panels, and they've always they've done things a little bit different than everybody else. They have better warranties. It's a better product. We do sell other products, but that's what you're going to get with a lease is that best panel in the world.
Excellent. Well, so far so good. We got a question that came through. It says, "Do you work with wind solar projects? So do you do combos at all?"
We do not. So we are solely a solar electricity installer. So we don't work with
But some companies, I think, do. They mix and match.
Sure.
I've heard that.
Sure.
Okay.
So I think when Adam and Nathan Rizzo were starting the company, they were trying to decide, do we do wind, do we do solar, do we do both? The maintenance on solar is so much less than wind power that they chose to just do
Shorter ladder,
solar.
I've noticed too.
Yeah.
So, like 300 feet up in the air, but that's okay. I mean, everybody, whatever's good for you. I guess you got to follow your intuition on that. And windmills are being very popular, at least in my area.
For sure.
And a lot of the local farmers and businesses are using them, and they're happy.
Yeah. Any type of renewable energy, we're all for that.
But I'll tell you one of the other reasons why I went with solar is. Even though I haven't really come to terms with this, I'm not getting any younger, and I just thought this would be a nice thing to have. Low maintenance, as you say, it's aesthetic, and I don't have to call someone to come out and check things out. So to me personally, it seemed like a good fit.
And we have several customers who have both wind and solar.
Oh, okay.
So they work well together. I think they'd all tell you that if they could do it all over again, they probably would have just put a bigger solar array in. And not done the wind, but you want big power generation. You see huge windmills out there. They produce a lot of power, those big windmills. Right. And they take up probably a little bit less space than what solar panels would.
So, like you said, it's an individual decision,
for sure,
and it's an option, or you can use both. So that's terrific. Okay, we have some more pictures here. Let's just respond to those because I know that fits right. Oh, this is so cool, everybody! I love this. I'm almost becoming like a little bit of an addict. In fact, I'm going to do it right now while we're talking. So why don't you tell the folks what they're looking at? For those that are listening, what you're doing is we're looking at a screen that has some data.
Right. So this is the monitoring system that you get with your SunPower product. It shows you what the system is producing at all times. It shows you can kind of go to different screens and run reports of what it's done year in and year out. But it looks like this is just showing us basically what's going on today.
That was some other day.
That day.
It's not presently.
Right. The one step that SunPower takes, kind of a step further than what other monitoring systems show you, is that it's actually showing you the consumption of your home as well. So there's a little bit of an advantage to that. Some people want to cut back on their usage and don't necessarily know how. This will show you, when your peak usage hours are, and kind of figure out that those are the times that you need to maybe shut things down a little bit. By monitoring your consumption, you can typically reduce it by 10 to 15%.
Okay.
But it looks like in the little blue lines are your consumption, and the green lines is the production of the system. So ideally, we want to see kind of a clean bell curve through that. We live in Western New York. You never know what you're going to get. So a lot of times it's kind of up and down with clouds rolling overhead and stuff like that.
Now, the reason why I used this slide was to make the point for folks that are interested in any green energy is let's see if I got this right, I made 109% of what I needed. I covered my usage plus 9%, right?
Yep.
And that 9% turned my meter backwards.
Yep.
And so now I had a credit of 9% for that day.
Right. And you probably, if that's all it was, then when the sun goes down, you're probably going to use a lot of that.
Right.
I don't know how far into this day that was taken, or if that
was in the evening.
Okay.
And then,
you produced a little bit more than what you needed on that day.
And now there's a little thing. Okay, and there's a little thing in the corner there that says CO2 emissions avoided. 855.5 pounds. What does that mean?
It's a good question.
In other words, we would have used something to produce that in a factory.
Right. So instead of using 855 pounds of carbon dioxide to produce that amount of power for you, you avoided using it.
Okay, so it's the green energy.
Yeah. So those numbers grow and grow and grow, and usually when in our initial proposal, we'll show you kind of environmental offsets as well. And over the course of the life of the system for you is 20 years on the lease, but the panels themselves have a 25-year warranty to them. That number is typically in the 100,000 to 300,000 or 400,000 pounds of carbon dioxide range, which I don't know exactly. It's a big number. I don't know exactly what that means, or how to wrap my head around it. So we equate that to how many trees planted,
right?
Coal avoided, stuff like that.
Cool.
So,
and we have a caller, but just before we get to the caller, I just here on my phone I've got a little app, and it shows just basically the same thing. I'm not going to go into it, but right now I'm producing 21% of my usage. It says here, and so much of it is coming from solar, and so much of it is coming from the grid at the moment. And I'm at like 1.3 kilowatts at the moment. Okay. So I don't know if it's we're just cranking up.
Yeah, it's probably maybe just cranking up, but maybe a little bit cloudy outside.
So we have a caller. So let's have a caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. This is Linda. Good morning, Doc. Good morning, Ryan. This is fascinating. I think it's just the most marvelous thing to have
Magic.
Solar energy.
Yeah.
That's better than the Great Waterfalls.
Takes up less real estate.
That's right.
Right.
So how are you?
I'm pretty good. The summer is rapidly passing us, isn't it?
I guess so. August is right around the corner, guys.
I'm still in a late spring mode, and here it is. Going to be August next week.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to announce that we have job openings with our senior employment program. I'm still looking for a transport aide in the Jamestown area. There are other jobs with private businesses too that I can hook people up with. We have our computer training in Brockton, the Hira Library, also at the Patterson Westfield Library. This is all free. There's no charge to it. And seniors are welcome.
Okay, I got a question now. I obviously haven't been doing my job as well as I usually do. So transport aid, what are the skills necessary for the job?
Well, we like to put people in that really want to go in for passenger driving.
Okay.
But not necessarily. We don't have to. But what they do is it's with their cart system or rural transportation system. They help people on and off the vehicle,
Okay.
and especially those who are disabled, helping them on and off the wheelchair lift. And the lift is right there. It really isn't as complicated as people may anticipate.
Okay, and how many hours a day?
Well, this is with our senior employment program, the subsidized program. It's 20 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
The wage is $10.40 an hour, which is the minimum wage.
Okay, so a couple $100 a week then.
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
And it's through Title V funding. So this income is not figured in the budget for federally subsidized housing or SNAP
Okay.
benefits.
All right. And if they want to get a hold of you?
The number in Mayville to call at the Office for the Aging is 753-4471.
There it is. It magically appears.
Wow.
Okay. Well, have you been to the Arts and Crafts Festival yet in Westfield?
I saw it last night, but it was closed up. I'm going today.
Ah,
I
it was-
know it's fabulous.
It was a great time, and too bad we missed you yesterday.
Oh.
All right.
But I was working, and I didn't get there till around 7 o'clock. But I am going today. I always look forward to this festival.
Wonderful. All right, Lynn, thanks for calling in, and we'll talk to you next time.
Okay, thanks. Have a great weekend and week.
All right, super. Meanwhile, a question came across my earpiece about can you store energy like in batteries from the grid?
You can, and that technology is currently getting better. It's something that's completely possible and has been for years. Now with Tesla, a couple other companies have come out with their lithium-ion batteries. It's becoming more popular, but it is still extremely expensive. I don't want to say maybe not extremely, but only the people that really want it and really need it are kind of customers.
Not quite ready for us commoners.
We really are probably a few years out from it being totally cost effective.
But they're working towards
to
it.
do. Yeah, for sure. We're doing a lot more with batteries with large commercial utility scale applications right now. But so as for now, and that kind of brings up something else about solar power, is that if you're just grid tied like you are and like I am, it doesn't provide any type of backup power. So you would need batteries in order to have that, or have some sort of generator.
I have a generator.
Right. So you have backup power.
I have backup power.
I don't. But people only lose power for, on average, about 2 hours a year. So to invest that amount of money just for that. But if you're trying to go off grid or something like that, then batteries are really a good option for you. They're just not completely cost effective today as far as.
Okay, we have one more picture with all those gizmos on the wall, Jeff.
Sure.
And then we're running out of time, so we want to wrap things up here. So this was in my basement, and that's all the stuff that comes with the system, right? All the controllers and monitors, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so you've got, there's breakers in there. There's your kind of your monitoring. What we install, I don't know if everybody does this anymore, is a revenue grade meter. We call it an easy to read meter. It's basically just showing you your total power production lifetime. Something ever happens with the internet and you can't monitor the system or something like that, that meter is continuously counting the production of the system, so you can always go down there and check that out.
Cool. So anyways, I just wanted people to see that it goes from the roof all the way down into the basement with the panels, and that all interfaces with my generator and with my electric panel, right?
Yep.
All right, Ryan, we're running out of time. So you've been very, very cautious in promoting your company, so to speak, but I'll give you a little bit of time. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you and talk to you about solar energy, how do they do that?
You can reach us by phone at 716-634-3780. And you don't have to know anything. You don't have to even know what you want. You can call and they'll put you on the phone with the right person, let you ask whatever questions you have, and hopefully set up a time for us to come out and visit with you.
Ryan, thanks again for joining us, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Let's not wait 3 more years.
Not 3 more years. So anyways, folks, you've been listening to Chautauqua Sunrise, and my guest was Ryan Calalesina, and I'm Doc Hamels. So enjoy this fabulous weather. The sun is shining, and I'm making electricity. If you wanted to do it either with wind or solar, you could do it too. So take care, have a great weekend, and we'll see you all next time right here on Access Chautauqua. And there you go.